At the same time, enforcement has continued on another front. Hong Kong police have confirmed arrests related not only to the fire itself, but to the public speech following the tragedy. One confirmed case involved a 71-year-old man arrested for social media posts authorities described as seditious in connection for commentary about the fire and the government response. In addition, students and student activists have been detained or questioned after disturbing flyers, posting statements, or calling for independent accountability following the incident. These were not arrests tied to violence, they were tied to expression. Under Hong Kong current legal framework, shaped by national security legislation and Article 23 laws, certain forms of public expression, especially when tied to criticism or authorities, can be treated as a criminal offenses. That's not speculation, that's just how the law is written, and that is how it's being applied. For context, when you hear Article 23, it refers to the section of Hong Kong Basic Law that requires the city to pass its own national security legislation. In simple terms, these laws criminalize acts like sedition, subversion, treason, and activities deemed to threaten national security. The issue isn't just what's listed, it's how broadly those terms are defined. Under Article 23 law, speech and expression that criticizes the government, question official narratives, or calls for accountability can be interpreted as a security risk, depending on how authorities apply the law. That is very different from how free speech is treated in Canada or the United States, where criticisms of the government is generally protected, not prosecuted. Now, I want to be clear about one thing here. We don't live in Hong Kong, and based on our stats, uh, our audience is Canada, United States base. So this isn't about judging people who live under a different system. It's about understanding that system so we can think clearly and objectively about what we are seeing. Hong Kong now operates under speech restriction, very different from what most Western audiences are used to, especially when criticisms following public tragedy. The context matters if you want to understand the response. Right now, several things remain unresolved. The exact technical cause of the fire, whether regulatory failures were isolated or systematic, and how far speech related enforcements will extend as the investigation continues. Those answers aren't available yet, but the direction of travel is clear. The story isn't just about a fire anymore. Here's the uncomfortable part: when investigations stretch for months, when speech is policed alongside accountability, and when fear enters the conversation,